Oh no, wait. This thing just okay. Okay. Is it on? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, hello, my name is Thando.M and I'm your host for today and forever and ever. Before we get into today's video, I'd like for you to press the subscribe button and the notification bell to notify you every time I upload a new video. I don't say Dumilang. So in today's video, I'll be sharing with you guys of how we almost lost Joshua twice in a span of 3 months. So it all began with, after he was born, the doctor had noticed that he's very dry for a newborn. And then she asked me to come back after 7 days to check if his sugar is still okay, and I should start feeding him more than the usual time they've set for new moms to feed. Like it's like feed after every 3 hours. So I should do it like feeding Joshua after every 2 hours, like 2 hours in between. Yeah, break the feeding 2 hours in between, so that he's more hydrated and we'll see what's wrong with the skin. And he noticed that his eyes are a bit yellow, but maybe it's because he's still a day or a few hours old. So she said we should give him time, and then I should come back to hospital after 7 days to check if everything is going well. So then fast forward to 7 days, I went back to the hospital, and then they checked Joshua, and unfortunately he began jaundice. So then we got admitted to the hospital, and then he had a bulge in his head, and when I touched it, it sounded like it made like funny noise, like plastic sounds, and it was soft. It wasn't hard, it was very not too soft, but it would like make funny sounds and movements. So I had notified the doctor that he has this, so they said okay, we'll also keep him for that and monitor him and see what's wrong, if he has water in his brain or any damage the time I was giving birth. Okay, we just then they admitted us, so I had to inform my mom that okay, she has to come get the car. Josh is being admitted. We got admitted, we stayed, okay, the first 3 days were okay. He was in an incubator. I wasn't allowed to take him out, and I had to take him out once every day, but I wasn't allowed to take him out just to play with him, or if he was crying, I had to leave him in the incubator like 90% of the time. Okay, then they discovered that he's not feeding, they're not happy with his feedings, so bathi bazomfaka a tube so that they can feed him via the, I don't know what they're feeding. And then there was another tube that was inserted into his nose, and I don't know what that was for. I'm not sure, I didn't ask. Yeah, I was just panicking that I've been a mom for like 3 days and I'm already going through all of this. Okay, and then we were okay for like a day, and then one day I woke up to Joshua gasping for air because he sorry it's not because Joshua was gasping for air. He had pulled his tubes out of his nose, so I just grabbed him out of the incubator and ran to the other side where the NICU was, and I just dropped him on the bed and told the nurses that he pulled his thingies, his tubes in there. Luckily, one of the nurses that did the rounds in our ward was there, and she knew what was supposed to be done. So she said I should wait outside while they are busy with him. So while we were there, they ended up checking if this bulge is water in his brain or it's just there and it's gonna go away. And then she I don't know what they call these people that specialized in sonography. I don't know what they called, but that doctor came in and gave we were clear. There was nothing wrong. It was just a bulge because he was maybe stuck down there while I was pushing, and then that happened, but it will go away as time goes by. Okay, and then we stayed in the hospital for like 7 days, and the doctor said I should keep him in the sun during the day. I'm like, take him out, or like 30 minutes in the sun near a window, or I can take a walk with him just for the sun to hit his skin so that the jaundice can like go away for good, so that he doesn't come back. And I did just that, and then he was okay. So by that time we were still living in Springs, and then came a time where we moved in with my then boyfriend, now husband, and then we moved in together in Woodbank. It was fun, new parents, you know, enjoying our baby. There was one day, it was one weekend, my husband was hosting a gig, and I also planned to go there. So yeah, the plan was to go there, go out and enjoy just my first time actually going out after being pregnant and giving birth. So we planned all of that, did all of that. So later that day, Joshua wasn't feeding the whole day. I didn't notice because he was sleeping the whole time. I'm thinking, he's just a baby, he's like 2 months. So I mean, they sleep the whole time and he's not sick anymore, so I don't have to do multiple feeds in between. And now I noticed that my boobs are full, like so full I couldn't touch them. I couldn't pick Joshua up because they were so painful and were as hard as rocks. So I started, like I said, I'm not going out because I'm not going to be able to handle people bumping into me or touching my boobs or rubbing against my boobs, because you know how like clap scene is. And then that's when I stayed behind. I believe that was God telling me, you're not going anywhere because something is about to go down. So Joshua wasn't really responding much on that day. He was sleeping the entire time. Whenever he woke up, would just like do this with his eyes and then go back to sleep. So I'm thinking maybe it's just izinto zabantwana. I mean, I was a first-time mom, and we were doing it on our own as first-time parents. We didn't have any help from our parents. We were living alone and raising our child. Okay, we slept. In the morning I woke up, so he was still acting funny, so I just picked him up and put him on my chest. I was on call with my mom. We were busy talking, and she was busy asking me, how's the baby, how's everything going? And I'm like, he's being funny, but I'm not sure if it's baby things or something is wrong. And then I felt his temperature, and it was like I felt so he's shaking. His eyes are like, it's moving like this very quick. What do you call it? Twitching. Whatever, it's twitching. Yeah, keep to subtitles. His eyes were twitching, and his whole face was shifting to one side, and his body was extremely stiff. So, sorry. And then I just told mom I'll call her back. I stood up and went to the living room where my husband was chilling. I went and told him, I think Joshua is not okay because he's stiff as a rock and his face is shifting towards like one side and his eyes are twitching. Guess what my husband says? Guess one is. This guy says, I'm like, I'm about to lose my child here, and this guy is telling me, hi, Mr. Jordan. And then, so I decided to call my husband's aunt. She's a nurse, so I thought she would know what to do in our situation. And then she didn't live far from us. Yes. As I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted by Mr. Jordan. So she didn't live very far from us. She came through. What? She came over to our place with her mini kit, and then she took Joshua's temperature, and the thermometer went skyrocket. And she was like, okay, quickly grab a towel so we can wrap him with it to calm his temperature down. And that actually didn't work because the towel ended up heating up, silly warm instead of cold. So she was like, okay, I think we need to take him to the doctor because he's still twitching. Okay. And then we tried to calm his temperature down with a towel, but it's all like warm instead of like cooling his temperature down. Instead, his temperature warmed the towel up. And then that's when Auntie decided that we need to take Joshua to the doctor, because by that time his eyes were still twitching, his face was still turned onto one side, and it was still stiff, not crying. And then she started praying. Oh, actually, she started saying, Joshua, stay with me. And I was like, oh my God, is she saying what I'm thinking she's saying? I ran to the other bedroom. We had a spare bedroom. And I was like, I don't know what I was doing in there, but I was in there for a while. So Aunt's daughter was busy shouting, change so we can go quickly, because I was still in my PJs. I'm in the wardrobe, like standing there thinking, oh my God, I don't know how I'm gonna handle if my son dies now at 2 months. It's only been 2 months, and loser. So why did you give him to me if you're gonna take him away from me? And then bavulo drop. Yeah, after saying that, actually bavulo drop. Bavula ke wardrobe, and they were like, hello, we're waiting for you. Sam, Umtani needs to go to the doctor. Guess he drives and leaves us nesgulane endlini. Yergot. Please talk to your son. Because I really, my guy, really. Anyways, then my husband, Jordan, hey. And then I'm gonna die young because of these kids. Anyways, and then my husband decides, and he's the one in the fastest car, what decided kushiya thina emuva nesigulane yena hambe eqala ayiku doctor. I don't know what's bekuyenzani, but I guess wonke umuntu was in their right mind, because I mean ingane eqeda ukufika emhlabeni seyizoshiya, excuse me, saya ke. A doctor, when he got there, a doctor was like, okay, I'm not gonna touch umntwana, he looks critical, so I'm gonna call the hospital. Then I shoot straight to the hospital. I'm gonna call the hospital and tell them to get a specialist as an attender. So you don't have to wait in any line, just go straight to the emergency and they'll be waiting for you. All right, again, the father decides to leave us. Mind you, we're in the fastest car. When we got there, my brain is not working, guys. So they're like, okay, they need to actually police so that they can admit Tumtuan. I can't remember anything. They're asking me questions. I don't know nothing. I don't know my ID number. I'm sure I didn't remember my name. I didn't remember his name. And then my husband starts shouting at me, like, how can you not remember ID number? I want you to and I'm like, okay, but I think I was out. I the only thing that was in my head was like, I'm gonna lose my son. So the nurse actually came, and so this person is not here. So what's okay, I'll fill in the information after Joshua is admitted, but they'll call the previous doctor that called and got us the booking to find out information about Dinga to set into the system. And then while we're at the back in the emergency room, Joshua's eyes rolled back. And then, you know, lente batayenze umuntu masakazo shona no wesibathu uya release. It happened, and that's when the nurse kicked me out. They closed the curtain, and I was like, oh my god, my son is gone. We were waiting in the waiting room. I was alone at that time. My husband was sitting on the other side of the reception, and I'm sitting there thinking, yo, that was the last time I saw my son, you know. And then my mom got there, my mother-in-law got there, and who else was there? I can't remember, but I remember the two. And also auntie was also there the whole time. Oh no, she wasn't with me in the waiting room. She was with Joshua, because she was like in nest mode, changing the bed sheets, like trying to help them put a drip in Joshua. But because she's family decided to tell her to go sit down and let them handle everything. And then because Joshua was overweight for his age, they had to or they tried to put in a drip, but it blocked same time because of his fat. And then they tried another one, it blocked as well. So the nurse came. Okay. The nurse came to ask if they could drill a hole in, I don't know, I don't know, you guys will figure out. She said I must speak English and you want subtitles, and I'm not good in English, Mina, so you guys will figure out what part of body I'm talking about. But the shin not chin, man, shin cat. Yes. So the shin, while the nurse was asking me, I think the doctor decided they're going to take forever to come back with an answer, and they never need drilling machine, but like it's so that they can get the drip straight into his bone. I don't know what that procedure is called. And then we had 4 other drips in him, so in case this one blocks, we have another drip running, and if in case the other one blocks, we have other drips running. And yeah, Joshua got admitted, and once they opened the curtain, I saw his little toes wiggling. I was like, oh my god, he's still alive. And I didn't celebrate yet because they told us we are not out of the woods yet. And the doctor had actually said that if we were, did he say 5 or 2 minutes late? I think it was 5 minutes late, we wouldn't be in this situation, like we would be preparing for his funeral. So then they took us to ward yake, and we were not allowed to have visitors, and whatever nurse came in was in full gear. You know how they dress up now for the corona? That's how the nurse and his dad and the doctors were supposed to gear up before they come in. It was very sad for me not to have anyone in there, you know, no one to talk to, and just watching my little baby. And I actually didn't understand what was going on. I knew something was like not right, mara but physically I was there because I was also, yeah man, I don't know what was happening, but yes. So we stayed there for like, was it a month and a half, 2 months, I'm not sure, because I think it was a month and a half, and then they added 2 extra weeks because he wanted to monitor and make sure that the meningitis is like gone and there's no trace of, I don't know what the word is. And he was busy showing me numbers, the count must be this, and then I'm like, my brother, I don't understand, especially when it comes to numbers, really. I don't know what's happening. So like I need to wait until it's this much so that we don't get like it doesn't damage him, like he can still walk, talk, and do everything like a normal child. Okay, we stayed there. I spent my first Mother's Day in hospital, and my husband also spent his first Father's Day in hospital. Joshua turned 3 months in hospital. It was a very long journey. It seemed like forever. But I had the best staff, like nurse, that group that was working with me morning and night shift. They were the best. They prayed for Joshua. They came in and prayed for Joshua. Actually, we were only assigned 2 nurses. In the morning group, there was only one that was allowed to work with us, and at night was only one, so that it doesn't spread around. So that's when the idea of me becoming a nurse came about. I was like, because one of the nurses are like, why don't you become a nurse, because you're so good at this, and now you can change it drip, and you didn't even get like you didn't go to school for this, and you're so good and it comes naturally to you. I'm like, yeah, think so. But then, you know, yeah, things happened and the years went by. But we are just glad that we went from 3 months to 3 years. We're celebrating 3 years of Joshua being alive and well. So Joshua means salvation, or to save. And in the Bible, Joshua was a warrior who had conquered many battles. So what could be more suitable name to name our beloved Joshua, who had already conquered so many battles?